problems. It's Saturday. We're going to be at Brands Hatch next Sunday. So we're going to be going down next Saturday afternoon and getting set up ready for Sunday's time attack. And as always, it would seem just before events happen, things go awry. From the last video, you might have seen that we had a problem with the oil pressure sensor.
Car's actually playing up a little bit. I noticed after we come out on warm-up that my oil pressure, which is obviously concerning, kept going 0 and then like 9 and 0 and 9, and it's obviously the sensor that's faulty because we just did 11 laps full chat and there was no issue.
So that is the problem with the oil pressure sensor. There wasn't an oil pump. The oil pump has not died and has not killed the engine, but the crank trigger wheel has cracked. And in my car, and in most cars, it's engine out. Like, it can't be done in situ. It's got to come out and it's got to be fully stripped apart. That's not something we can get done before next weekend. Getting it out is one thing, stripping it apart, completely rebuilding the engine. And if there's any other problems in the engine, then we have to order other parts. Then, you know, we're really stuck. So, I was faced with a difficult decision. Do I suck it up and skip the round? Or do I source another forged engine and drop that in? And I don't like to give up, so I need a spare engine anyway. I had a spare engine a few years ago, but I had to right when I blew the last one up. So I've only got a bottom end knocking about now. So get a spare engine. So I spoke to Toby Smith, who sorted us out the radiator at Anglesey, and he had a number of well-built engines, and one in particular stood out to me. It's higher spec than mine is. Mine is nothing fancy really, but this I've had quite a bit of work done on it, meaning that we can lean on it. So we were going to be building an engine anyway for the end of the year to push the power up. I already have the turbo in question, so this gives us the opportunity to make an upgrade and make a positive out of a negative. We've got a G30 770 on smallest housing, which a friend of mine, Nick Braun, Team Braun Racing. If you don't watch him, watch him, because great content, good lad. He won the Thunder Saloons Championship last year, so we're keeping an eye on him for this year, wishing him the best of luck. I run the turbo setup I run now because of Nick. We've had a lot of conversations years ago, and when the G25 660 sort of came out, it was just miles ahead of most other stuff, unless you're going for Borg Warner, twin wastegate, but then there's more to go wrong, blah blah blah. So yeah, really, and I've been very happy with it, and it is enough, and I'm going to be keeping it, don't get me wrong. But there's an opportunity. We've had a few days where EGTs have been a bit high, so if there's an opportunity to bring the boost down, make the same power, not really compromise on spool, which is what Nick's found, then seems like a no-brainer. We can get those EGTs down and happy days. The engine's even happier. So that's the idea now. We won't be sort of bringing it to its limit. We'll have an engine that can take a lot more power. We'll have a turbo that can deliver more, but more importantly can deliver the same safely with less effort. So we've got the turbo. Last night it was 2 in the morning, I was at Midnight Motorsport in Bedfordshire, and then 10 o'clock this morning I was at Giz Motorsport in Skegness, and now tomorrow morning I will be in Shropshire to go and collect the new engine that we're going to be putting in, which is not cheap, but it's ready now, and it's a lot cheaper than building that exact spec engine fresh. So it's a win-win really. I'm just sort of forced into it early. Anyway, so luckily Midnight Motorsport, the man himself, has said he's going to pull it out of the bag and get it out this week and get the other one in. So luckily all the hardware lines up, don't need to change anything else, just pop my injectors, my inlet and the new turbo, my downpipe and everything straight on. So I say just pop it on, obviously it's hours and hours of work, but it all fits, it's a straight swap. And the new turbo fits straight onto my existing manifold and everything like that as well. But we'll get it back up to Skegness next Saturday morning, which is the day before Brands Hatch. So we'll go straight from Skegness to Brands Hatch when we're done, and we're going to bring it up here for a mapping session, just because it's a new engine. Regardless of the turbo, the fact that it's a new engine, it needs really checking out. Obviously, we can do it on the road to a point, but it's just far better to have it on the rollers, and I'm off for the weekend anyway to go to Brands. So we're just going to go skeggy first, get it on the rollers, get it tweaked up. We'll have a new power figure, we'll make sure everything's running sweet. We might not obviously push it to its absolute limit, we'll make sure it's safe, and then I get to we'll compare. At some point we'll do a comparison of the graphs and how the two different turbos pick up. Unfortunately it's not on the same engine, so the fact that this other engine's had head work could have an impact, but nonetheless we'll be able to sort of see the comparisons between what we're making and how it's delivering that power, and you know, all the data. So we'll get that, get it out of Brands Hatch, and at least we can go fast, because I've been there twice now recently and not gone fast. The car's been the slowest it's ever been, like power wise, and that's obviously because of this crack that's developed in the trigger wheel, which has gotten worse and has now led to the point where it's like ignition cut at 5,000 RPM, or it did. Obviously we're not running the car anymore, now we know what the problem is. So we'll see what happens now. We're just gonna get back. I'll film lots of bits, get some clips of us picking up the engine, and I'll try and get some pictures and videos of the stuff being pulled out and refitted. I mean, it's all pretty normal, but try and get some content for you. And then yeah, we'll go from there, but not good. Not good. On a side note, even worse than that, just to add to my woes, when I drove the car on the trailer last night, I drove the car off the trailer today, and I got about 10 foot away from the door of Giz Motorsport, decided I didn't want to drive anymore. I don't mean engine running, that was running fine. Just didn't want to drive forwards or backwards, or in any gear for that matter. I think it's the clutch slave cylinder, but I mean, never know, the gearbox could have given up the ghost. Again, we'll find that out middle of this week as well. But there was no clutch slipping, there was no knocking, no banging any more than normal with the gripper diff. So don't know, we'll see. But yeah, gearbox also not the problem. We're going to pick up a new engine from somewhere. I've forgotten where now. Shropshire somewhere. Toby Smith sorted us out. He pulled the engine out yesterday afternoon and got it ready for us to go and collect today, and he's gone into the yard today for us, so much appreciated. And we can start pulling it out this week and swapping it over.
Many hours later.
She actually runs. What's happening?
Right.
So it's Friday night.
It's Friday night, yeah. So Tuesday, I mean, there's some clips that I filmed doing different things. So we'll jump straight to Tuesday when I drop the car to L at Midnight Motorsport, ready to start taking the engine out because we're replacing the engine. Obviously I've got a couple of clips from us picking that up, and that was last weekend. So since then it's been just sourcing bits and making sure we've got everything we need for the transplant, and seeing what was up with what I thought could be a potential gearbox issue, which actually ended up being a drive shaft, but just masked itself. It was really hard to see that that's where the problem was until we had it off basically. So that was good news. So gearbox is all good, so happy days. Engine also salvageable that we took out. Again, the engine isn't damaged, it's just this particular bit we've caught it as it cracked before it broke or separated. And the new engine is in. It got put in last night. Everything's back together. We've just been over to Midnight Motorsport now to basically see the final bits being done, lend a hand where required, and we just turned it over and she's running. So we've got a little exhaust leak that Elle is just taking care of now. One of the V-bands is, well, I'd say loose, but that would imply you could just do it up. I think it's a bit knackered, so we've got a new V-band, so we're going to put that on, and that should be everything ready to go for mapping tomorrow. So we're going to pick the car up first thing tomorrow morning. We're going to drive to Giz Motorsport in Skegness, and we're going to be having a mapping session done, and we'll have the dials finally working again for traction control and boost, because basically it was an issue with the cable. It's not the connector, it's actually the cable. So yeah, we've got a new cable and he's made a new lead up for us, so that'll be that done, and we can sort of make the most out of the new turbo setup which we've put on it. So we've gone up now from a G25 660 to a G30 770. Not a lot else has changed, in as much as same induction, same inlet, same exhaust, same injectors and fuel system, because it was kind of over-spec for where we were. But now the engine's got the capability to flow the power, so we're going to go and sort of see what we can get out of it. So tomorrow's a bit of an exciting day, and tonight's been a bit of a relieving one. Finally hear the car running again and it's all back together, so it's looking like it's going to happen, which was up in the air last week about whether or not we were going to make this round. So I'm buzzing. I'm really excited for tomorrow to see what it brings, and yeah, we'll be well up in the fives. We'll see how much more we can go from there.
The next morning.
Here's where the magic's gonna happen. Look at your face.
Dyno data boys fun, aren't they? When it gets strapped down to Dyno, that means it's about to make power. That means it's done. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Do I have to introduce myself?
No, we all know who you are. It's Ash
It
from
is
Giz
me.
Motorsport. You all know him now.
So yeah, we've changed the engine, unfortunately down to... The engine in itself is alive, but it's decided to shake its trigger wheel off, something you see when they're quite high power. And Luke took this opportunity not to go, oh, we'll just repair it or replace it. He's gone for a completely different engine, completely different turbo, so we're back on the rollers to see what she'll do. Hopefully more is what we're aiming for, so we'll see what she does.
Fingers crossed. We saw that.
Well, what's today been? Today's been we've taken the car up to Skegness. We picked it up this morning from Elle and Midnight Motorsport, who got the last couple of bits finished on the engine swap last night. So we took it to Skegness today to Ash. He did the final revision on the cable for my traction control and boost control, because the cable or connections just kept failing. So we finally sorted that out now. Also, we had a new oil pressure temperature switch to install. So we got that done, wired in, and then reprogram basically everything, set all the parameters and check everything for that. So then once that got done, we could move on to mapping, which I mean, it went well. ran into the issue of basically the intercooler can't bring the temperatures down enough. We're just getting way too hot air intake temperatures, and that is just massively limiting us on power. So we're not actually running much more, or we didn't on the dyno run much more power than we had before. Lower EGTs, spool, barely any compromise on that, and obviously the engine's better, so everything's great. There's no knock. It's really running sweet. But obviously we were expecting, you know, quite a bit more power out of it. But just to give you an idea of what was going on, we were starting, you know, we were doing back-to-back dyno pulls. We only had the afternoon to get it sorted, but air intake temperatures are starting at 30 to 40 degrees, and at the end of the pull they're finishing at 50 to 60, and it's just, you're just chucking hot air in it, as Ash said. So we just couldn't do any more. Further on from that, I also shredded a set of rain sports where it spun up on the dyno twice. Dyno problems. Spinning the tyre off. Brand new set of rain sports. Wow. When we did try and get some more out of it, and it killed a CV boot as well, which meant we now need to change the drive shaft when we get to the track now, which we're on the way to. We're about an hour away from Brands Hatch. It's 7:30 at night. So we're going to go drop the car off, get set up, get the shaft changed, and yeah, I mean the car's back together and it's all working, so great, because I wasn't sure if we were going to make this round, but everyone's pulled it out of the bag. Elle spent like all evenings from sort of Tuesday getting the engine swapped, and then Ash has come in on his Saturdays to diagnose the fault last Saturday, and then to map the new one engine this weekend. So everyone's sort of done what they can to help us get it all back together as quick as possible, and we're not running less power, so that's all good. So we'll get out, get competing, and then we're going to have to look into a new intercooler setup, because that is our point of restriction now. So we'll look into that when we're back from this round, and hopefully that's something we'll get in place for probably not Auburn, but I'm sure we could have it for later on in the season for maybe Donington. So yeah, it's been an eventful week, stressful, very stressful, a lot of ups and downs, but we're on the way now, so what more can we do? Just turn up, do whatever lap time we can do, and hopefully we have good weather, because it's been on and off all day, rain, shine, so see what tomorrow brings. So we have made it. We are at Brands Hatch for round 4 of Time Attack. We've had a bit of a week. I'm sure there's been lots of information before this in the videos, but brief is we've had to put a new engine in the car in the last week. So that's been done. Got tuned yesterday, which didn't go to plan, with shredding tyres and CV joint and just intercooler not doing its job. So, but we've made it here. It's a nice day. I can't see any reason why we can't go full send. Car's running good, so yeah, we're just gonna go for it and see what we can do. It was supposed to be raining, but it looks like it's gonna hold off. So yeah, it's been a stressful one, but we're here now. See what we can do.
So we are back in from warm-up. It was a very short warm-up for us. We took it out, probably did 3 or 4 laps, quite a lot of traffic. Quite a bit of traffic, as we expected. There was a lot of cars out in the session. So it took a couple of laps to find a little bit of space. Started leaning on the car in low boost, and then as I came around this corner, just held back on me again. So, you know, this is sort of what it did the other day, but it's got a new engine in it, and it was remapped yesterday and worked faultlessly. So really not sure what it is. We're going to have Ash is going to have a look at the logs, see if we can find anything. We noticed the fuel was a little bit low, and it's on a corner, could have been fuel starvation. So we filled it up, brought it in, checked the tyre pressures, filled it up, went to go out again because there was still 6 minutes left of session, and someone crashed, red flag, ended the session early because the day is so tight today, and they'd rather lose the early sessions for warm-up and practice where it doesn't matter, and potentially rescue cars for qualifying in the final where points are scored. So not the ideal warm-up. I kind of wanted to go around, lean on it a bit more, but got some data. We'll look at the data, and in the meantime we'll check everything over that we can. Everything seems fine. Everything was fine yesterday. It probably was something silly like low fuel. So we'll also put it back on full boost, which is obviously what it's mapped on and then scaled back. So we'll just see, because it ran fine yesterday on full boost. So put it back on full boost, see what it's like, and hopefully we have more luck in practice. But plenty of time to sort it out before points are scored. Yeah, we've had practice, and the car's still not ideal. It was a bit better than it was in warm-up, so I think it is a fuel-related issue because we filled the tank and it was a bit better. But it seems to be just hesitating on the first and last corner and surging or whatever. I don't know. We're looking at the logs. We're trying to work out what's going on. So I don't think it's going to be our day today. But we've brimmed the tank. We've made a slight modification to the ventilation on it in case it's struggling to, it's pressurising the fuel cell, because that has been an issue in the past. So we're trying that out, and just going to go out and try and put together a much less sloppy lap than the absolute mess that was my last one. Hopefully we don't get a red flag and we actually get more than sort of 5-10 minutes on track this time. I don't think I've actually had more than 5 minutes, but it wouldn't matter anyway. Car's not brilliant, so just gonna do what we can. Not ideal, but it is what it is. We're just gonna make the best of it. That was much better. We turned the power down on the car and it delivered. It worked, so I could use it. It kind of made a bit more boost than I was expecting coming out of the back curve where it was hesitating on me earlier, and I was sort of just flat out through it. I put my foot down and the car moved seriously left, which actually gave us a better line out, but I wasn't really ready for it, and it took off as well. It really put it down coming out down the straight. So we just did a 53 flat, which isn't fast. It's fast enough. I think it was fast enough for third in qualifying. Well, my lovely lady's holding up fingers say fourth, but actually one of them's a single round entry, so it doesn't count for the championship. So
perfect.
for championship points, I came third. For the car not working well at all, great. And at optimal, I only literally did, I blew a boost hose, by the way. Let me just get to that point. I did 2 laps, hot laps, blew a boost hose. Shit my pants. And I had no power steering as well for like 90% of it. So it wasn't ideal, but because the car was driving and I could still steer it even though it was heavy, I just carried on and tried to get a fast lap in. Got a pretty good lap in. Went for another one and it went okay, and then we blew the hose out. So brought it into Parc Ferme. It turned out it was enough for third in class, which is amazing. And the optimal was the second faster. It's a 52 flat, which for 2 laps just goes to show where I caught Johnny which it's not Johnny's fault at all. It was just the way the traffic worked out and a mistake he made into the bottom corner. He couldn't move out of the way. Meant I lost a bit of time closing in on him just before, keep forgetting the name of the last corner, but just before the last corner. So we had more time on the table there. So yeah, all in all, actually really good. The first time today, it's like, oh, that was a fantastic positive. I didn't expect to be anywhere near the top in this session. I didn't even know if the car would work at all. And to pull that out of the bag in 2 laps, yeah, very happy days. Setup's obviously good, handling wise. We just need to change a few things that aren't currently working. But yeah, pretty happy. We're just going to we get the boost hose sorted, get some fuel in it, check some data again. Might even knock it down a little bit more power, because like I say, I feel like I might gain a bit of drivability, or I might just need to get used to this setup a bit more. But I'll try a couple of things, and hopefully we get a few more laps in the final and get that down into the 52s.
Moving on to Club 2-wheel drive. In 3rd place, it doesn't help wherever I go. In 3rd place, it's Luke Capehorn. In 2nd, it's Luke Woodhouse. Woo-hoo. And today, and today's Club 2-wheel drive winner, oh that worked, thank you. Today's Club 2-wheel drive winner is Johnny Fletcher. Next up is Club 4-wheel drive.
So we are done. Brands Hatch round 4. It's been a hell of a tricky day, ups and downs, getting over issues, trying to work out what is causing what. I mean, it was a major rush to get here. I can't thank Midnight Motorsport again enough, and Ash for coming in on this Saturday and remote logging in and
everyone doing what they can to try and get this sorted. People that popped down today for support, you know who you are, thank you as well. Yeah, so after a really, really bad morning, some terrible laps and struggling with the car, we managed to go out in qualifying and set an okay lap time, which put us in 3rd in class, which is amazing. In the final, we went out and we managed to beat that lap time by considerable. So we got 32.25, I think.
32.25.
Yeah, 32.25. No, 52.25. Thank you. Yeah, no, we didn't do 32.
So you set a new lap time.
Yeah, right.
Lap time.
52.25. So that's the fastest I've gone. That's good. That is on setting 6. That is the car still not brilliant. We had to turn the power right down to do it. And it fought me all the way. I managed to get about 3 laps out of it before it just got too hot and then started playing up. So all in all, and then it spat the coolant out as well, overheated a little bit. So it was time to bring it in, call it a day. But all in all, we've ended up taking 3rd in class in the final as well, which I couldn't believe earlier on, to be honest with you. It's actually mad. Although the car didn't go how I wanted it to today, at all. Yeah, the result is like just mega. So yeah, really happy. All things considered, amazing. Can't believe we've got on the podium again. And yeah, just sort out these issues. Smaller turbo back on, and then we'll be ready for next round properly.